All right, so why don't I officially say welcome to my Zoom and very spontaneously pulling this together. This is how we roll, right? So Ben Morris and David, welcome to Ruby Shoes, Ruby Gemstones. And you know Mike and Dan, thank you so much for coming on. It's great to meet you. I feel like we're going to be best friends soon as well. And
Perfect.
yeah, we're excited about Ruby and all that it has to offer. And we see the vision. So, Mike, do you have anything to say? I'm going to mute and yeah.
No, just introduce you to Dan. I've known Dan for, oh my gosh, almost 25 years, I think now. We've ran together, traveled together, and he's probably one of my best friends, and he's a great guy in the industry and a super great friend, and just happy to be partnered up with him and on this exciting ride. So
Well,
that's
Dan,
all I'll say.
I want you to know Mike speaks very highly of you, even behind your back. Now, one of the things, and I love Mike, and I imagine whoever's on this call loves Mike. And the fact that he does know you and the integrity behind, you and your partner in this company really attracted me. And that, the access that we have. So thank you very much.
Oh,
Janet,
no problem.
do you have any? I know you have some questions on comp, so go ahead.
Yeah. Hey, it's nice to meet you. Thanks for jumping on so spontaneously. So yeah, I'm totally flying by the seat of my pants. I've been in network marketing for, I don't know, 15, 16 something years. I stopped counting for a while. I am a leader with the Mari, and I have no plans of, not doing that. I feel like this is a tool to help me continue to build that business, but I definitely see the potential in being a early adapter with this and having those multiple income streams. However, David and I we've worked at two of the same companies together. So this comp plan is totally different. And I think I'm trying to wrap my head around it a little bit. I have looked at some of the materials out there. But I think like a couple questions I have is like just the strategy of like where to place when you're like thinking about that. And then also really, I have some people in mind to reach out to who are not necessarily in the MLM world, but they are in marketing, they have podcasts, they teach marketing, branding, social strategy. And I want a way to really easily talk to them about this and talk the money without it getting complicated like it often can do. I think the platform's really easy. I think like the share of what this tool is very simple. But then when they're asking like, okay, how do I make money? I don't want to be like, well, it's a binary and you only get paid on your, all that stuff that just makes people run the other direction. So that's my big question, I think, is just how to communicate this very easily and efficiently.
Basically what I always do in compensation plans is just go through a simple system that I'm trying to get people to duplicate. The whole thing with network marketing, obviously, there's two things that you got to do. You have to duplicate and you have to retain. And so really one of the big misconceptions of binaries is that they only pay on one leg. That's 100% false. Every binary pays on both legs. It just pays on the matched volume. So you can explain it two ways. Like just for an example, let's say if you have 1,000 volume on one team and 1,250 on the other, the matched volume is 1,000 on each leg. You're paid on the 1,000 on both legs. For whatever reason, I honestly don't know. It makes no sense to me why anybody has ever explained that you only get paid on one leg, because every single binary, 100% of them, take the volume from both legs after you're paid. So they all pay on both legs. It just happens to be the matched volume, or in some cases, it isn't even the matched volume. It's 1/3, 2/3, which really makes no sense. I mean, why somebody would join a compensation plan that pays 1/3, 2/3, like Isogenics and those, it's ridiculous. That's counting on you, every single person having a massive power leg, meaning if I'm balanced, I'm being so I'm making a third less money by being balanced, because I have to have one leg that's more than twice as big as the other leg in order to max out the plan. So so the first thing that I would explain is that it does pay on two legs, between 5 and 10% of the matched volume on both legs. So if you can imagine a unilevel that paid 5 to 10% on every single level to infinity, I mean, this is just my opinion. a unilevel, a matrix cannot compete with a binary. It makes no sense to do something that limits you to 7 or 8 levels, and all of the duplication has to be within your first, second, or third level, or it gets too deep and you can't get paid on it. And most infinity plans, you're competing with your downline to make sure that you stay a higher rank than they are, or else they eat up the percentage of money that you can get paid on. So I think, first off, a binary is the fairest plan in the industry by far. It has the least amount of structure required of any plan. And specifically in Flex or Ruby, we have virtually no structure required, other than obviously you have to create volume. So to max out the compensation plan, you need to have an active order, one person left with an active order, one person right with an active order. An active order in Flex is as little as $15. So with a $15 order, you're limiting part of the compensation plan, meaning I can make $20,000 per week on the 2-team pay, even with a $15 order. I can make unlimited matching bonuses of 20% on every single person that I sponsor. Where I'm limiting myself with a $15 order is the most I can make in the 2-team pay is, again, if you look at it how most people explain it, and we put it on the PDF that way, just because that's what people are used to. I personally think it's incorrect. For example, instead of saying 10% on the pay leg, I would explain it 5% on the matched volume of both legs. In reality, it's the exact same thing. So if we go back to that 1,000 left and 1,250 right, the matched volume on both legs would be 1,000. So if I said you make 5% on both legs, that would be $50 on your left and $50 on your right. That's $100. Or if I said you make 10% on your lesser team is automatically going to be your matched volume, because whatever your lesser team is doing, that means the other one is bigger than that. So that would be your matched volume. So if I say you make 10% on your lesser team, that's $100. If I say that you make 5% on the matched volume of both legs, that's also $100. So for some reason, I think people just thought that it was easier to explain power leg, pay leg. To me, first off, it's incorrect, because you are paid on both legs in all binaries, but it's how it's done. So I've just, put in the PDFs how most people are used to understanding it. The thing that makes ours different, if you move up to a $25 order on your personal order, it doesn't have to be on your personally sponsored. So your personally sponsored can still be at 15. You move to 25, that opens up to 20% on your pay leg, or 10% on the matched volume of both legs, and 4 generations of a 10% matching bonus on golds or above. And so that opens up a massive additional part of the compensation plan, meaning I could get to that 20,000 per week, 2-team pay with half the volume, just by doing a $10 larger order, because it pays up to 20% instead of up to 10%. We do have another bonus, and I think we're going to add one bonus on the 25 by October 1st. I kind of have a game plan for that. But we do have an additional bonus at the $50 package, and that is what we call a lifestyle bonus. And it really just makes the compensation plan so that I only need to explain that one bonus, because if you understand that bonus and you duplicate that bonus, everything else takes care of itself. So for instance, if I got 2, so again, in order to qualify for that, I need to purchase the $50 pack. I need at least 2 people that also purchase that pack who have 2 people. That'll pay a $50 monthly bonus, as long as they stay active, as long as I keep 2 who have 2. Doesn't matter what leg they're on. They can all be on the same leg. They can be on, a combination of legs or whatever. That doesn't matter. It's just based off of your personally sponsored. If I have at least 2 personally sponsored at the 50, they have 2 personally sponsored, then I get a $50 bonus. If I have 3 who get 3, that's 12 people. I get a $150 bonus. 4 who get 4, that's 20 people. I get a $250 bonus, and 5 who get 5, that's 30 people. I get a $350 bonus, and that's in addition to the rest of the commissions. So basically, when I teach anything to do with network marketing, it really doesn't matter the company. Like, I can explain why most people don't have the success they're looking for in network marketing in like basically 4 or 5 words. they never launch. That's the biggest issue. There's two things that you have to consider: duplication and retention. So once you understand the exact formula for duplication, which is very simple, it's build a list, cultivate that list, present the business to that list, preferably using tools, and that's the sales process. There is one step. So when I go from cultivating the list to presenting, there's a little bridge there that we just call an invite. So basically, the reason that most people would start with their current center of influence is that's already your cultivated list. So if I was going to say, well, what is your cultivated list? I would say, well, that's probably every single person that is in your cell phone, all the people that you communicate with social media, all the people that you have on any email list or Christmas card list or anything like that. That would kind of be where you start. And so since that's already cultivated, it's all just starting with an invite. So that's basically the duplication process, where I either build a list or have a list. I cultivate that list. I invite that list to a presentation, and just numbers. There's going to be, I don't know how many I'm going to have to show a program like this, like Flex or Ruby, to get my 2 people, but I know it is a number. For some people, it could be 2. I could get the first 2 that I reach out to. Some people I might have to reach out to 10, some 40, some 50, some 100. It doesn't matter. That has nothing to do with anything. There is a number. If you reach out to enough people, you'll get your 2. If they do the same thing, they'll get their 2. And that's basically what the whole game is. And the reason that every single person isn't successful in MLM is 99% of them never truly launch their business. So when I talk about launching a business, I always count on, because I built pretty much everything I've ever done through marketing. So I started when I was 18. So I didn't have like I didn't have a cell phone because they didn't exist back then. And I, basically, I did have some friends. I did sign up a few friends, but never enough to get my business off the ground. So I was more of a marketer running ads, putting out flyers, doing those types of things. So I'm basically putting out an ad. Somebody's contacting me. I give them information. I mean, that's just as basic as it gets. For me to make 2 sales between $15 and $50 in marketing AI, I mean, it's not possible for me not to teach every single person how to do that. The problem is,
totally.
Are they going to do it, or are they not going to do it? But
can I back up to one question? So I'm still so like you gave the example of 1,000 and 1,250 and 2 legs, right? So in the event that you did have one leg that took off, right? Yeah. So let's use the example of you have, 2,000 in one leg and you've got 15,000 in the other leg.
Yeah, that's even better.
You keep saying matching, and I'm not clear what you mean by that. So like what would the
matching bonus there would, the matching there, if you had 2,000 in one and 15,000 in the other, the matching would be 2,000. That means you have 2,000 in both legs. So you're going to get paid on that 2,000 in both legs. The 13,000 that you didn't get paid on is going to carry over until you get paid on it forever. So now all of a sudden,
what does that mean though? Because again, that's a new concept.
That means the next week, instead of starting at, like in a unilevel or a matrix, the month ends and then you start at 0.
Right.
And you might have $1 million that you didn't get paid on because it was too deep in your organization.
Right.
Somebody blocked you. So just imagine that if a matrix or a unilevel was even close to as good as a binary, all the volume that you didn't get paid on, they would carry that over and give you the opportunity to get paid on. But they don't do that. They just break it off. You don't get paid on any of it, and you start every month at 0. So any volume that you're not paid on is going to carry over to the next week. And so now all of a sudden,
until you're like even in the legs, basically, like that's always the goal, is to be very close.
I mean, that's always the goal. But let's say that doesn't happen. Let's say you have a leg that just goes crazy and maybe has millions of dollars in volume.
Right.
Now let's just focus on your personal compensation plan. Your personal compensation plan, because the other leg's already built. So now you only have to build one leg, and it's going to pay 10 to 20% to infinity. So just imagine if somebody put out a unilevel and it paid 20% on the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 20th, 30th, 40th, 100th. How could anybody say that's not the most powerful compensation plan in the world? because a unilevel pays 3% on this level, 5% on this level, 7% on this level, and pays 6 or 7 or 8 levels. That's making it almost impossible to build a business, because I have to get all of my duplication within my first couple levels, and none of the volume that I don't get paid on carries over. So it's the least fair plan in the world, but because people don't explain things correctly and perception is key, everybody's perception is their reality. They in some mind think that, oh, well, binaries only pay on one leg, or if it only pays on one leg and you have another leg, then you have the best compensation plan in the world, because you're making 10 to 20% on every level to infinity. You know what I mean? So how can any other plan compete with it? And then in addition to that, you're making matching bonuses on everybody that you sponsor, and then generation matching bonuses on everybody they sponsor to infinity down, 4 generations of gold or higher. So basically, there's not a whole lot of crazy strategy or anything like that's needed in our plan, because we don't have all the structure that even most binaries still require a lot of structure. And so some people don't like that, because just for instance, let's just go up to, instead of going all the way up to green diamond, let's just go up to diamond. In most companies, if we were structured how most of them are, for me to become diamond, the rank before that's platinum, I would have to be diamond, and I'd have to have so many platinums. The platinums would have to have so many golds. The golds would have to have so many silvers, and all of that structure required. And then the silvers would have to have, a certain personal order and so much volume. And so that is much, much more difficult than here. It literally is just one active left, one active right. And you can make unlimited commissions as long as you get the volume. So that's basically the key that I think that most people don't. Again, it's difficult enough to get the volume in most cases, and then you have to have the perfectly structured volume is even more difficult. And that's why a lot of people struggle, because even if they finally get their business off the ground, it's really hard to keep all that structure every single month. And that's why you see Unilevel's famous for people having to go and do 5,000, 10,000. I know people doing $20,000 and $30,000 orders every month, because they're having to place orders under all of their people to keep their structure. And it's just ridiculous. That, I mean, the industry has a poor reputation, in my opinion, for 2 main reasons. The products typically are overpriced, and the structure is always in the company's benefit. And so my goal for the entirety of my network marketing, since I've started funding companies and launching companies, was to create structures that make more sense and is more fair for the actual distributor. Because I've always felt if you create volume, obviously, if there's only one leg required, meaning there was no 2 legs, there's only one, that's a compensation plan that in reality can't pay, because then everybody would have a huge downline, and you have to limit it somehow. There's no way to make money that way. So the only thing that's easier to build than 1 leg is 2 legs. And then when you eliminate the levels and you only focus on volume, then it doesn't necessarily matter how deep it is before somebody actually takes off. Where if I sponsor somebody in a unilevel who sponsors somebody, and somebody on my 5th or 6th level takes off and builds a massive business, it's very difficult for me to make very much money on that volume, because it's already so deep in my organization. And so I have to get that duplication in my 1st or 2nd level, or else it really limits the amount of money that I can make. Right.
Where do customers go? Do they still just build down binary? Like if someone comes in,
so all the customer volume, no customers are placed in the binary tree.
Okay.
But what it does is every single week, the customer volume goes to balance your legs. So in the case that you said, you have 15,000 on one leg and 2,000 on the other leg, all of your customer volume would go down the leg of 2,000.
Oh, okay.
And so the customer volume can switch from week to week, leg to leg, because it just moves that volume to your lesser leg every week.
Okay, and then it's a weekly cycle. All of this is a weekly cycle.
Weekly.
Okay. And then it looks like you can enroll internationally as well.
Yes, pretty much every country. There's 190 some countries, but then there's also, man, my mind just went blank of like territories. So
And
overall,
this
there's
this
like
platform
200
is then available everywhere, like
Yes.
the specific technology. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. David, I know
So-
your hand was up. If you had a question here, I don't want to keep all the time.
Yeah. Hey, Dan, thanks so much for jumping on and being so generous
no
with your
problem.
time today. Really appreciate it. I am not one of those people who have to know every detail before I go. So like I just joined on Friday. I'm ready. I've been using this weekend to start my engine, but I'm ready to go. This is just helpful so that, gosh, if I were to end up getting connected with somebody who has lots of questions about
Yeah.
the comp plan, I just don't want to sound like a total ignorant,
Yeah.
person. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate you going into some of the finer details just to like wrap my brain around more of this. So I'm glad you asked the last question, Jen, because I kept hearing week by week or weekly stuff, and I'm so used to thinking of comp plans in a monthly
Yeah.
sort of basis that kind of warping my brain a little bit. Then another question I had was if you could just take another minute to kind of explain a little bit more in detail that carryover idea. I know we keep going back to the 2,000 in one leg, 15,000 in the other. The matching volume is 2,000. Now, so first of all, I guess two-parter then. I have to think about that in a weekly basis. It's like Tuesday to Tuesday or something.
Yes, that's correct. I mean, you
Okay,
don't really
and
have to
then
think about it. It shows the volume in your back office. So
right. So that 13,000 though, that sort of gets evened out as the carryover. Can you just explain to me what happens to that again, or how it factors into the
Yeah,
next
so
year?
let's just, so that we can be on the same page, let's just call one leg left and the other right. So let's say your left leg has 15,000, your right leg has 2,000, and the week just ended. And let's just say that you're a brand new distributor, so that you make 10%. So on the 2,000, you'd make $200. It's going to take the 2,000 from your left side and the 2,000 from your right side, because it actually pays on both legs. So in reality, you'd make $100 on your left, $100 on your right. But most people explain it pay leg, power leg. That would leave 13,000 on my left leg that I wasn't paid on. So that 13,000 starting on Wednesday, you're going to be 13,000 on your left leg and 0 on your right leg. And so basically what that does is, what you're going to do in your back office under your account, under settings, it has a place where you pick left leg or right leg or alternate or however you want to do it. So you're just going to go and do your setting at right leg and just leave it at right leg. Now, let's say maybe 6 months down the road, somebody on that right leg goes crazy, and now your right leg is doing 100,000, your left leg is doing 70,000 or 10,000 and 7,000. It doesn't matter. Then you would just go into your back office, and now you would switch back to your left leg, because the other leg is significantly larger. So if one leg isn't significantly larger than the other, I just would kind of leave it on alternate, and until one leg kind of, in reality, I don't know why it is, but even if I had mine on alternate the entire time, and I sponsored 20 people and I put 10 on my left and 10 on my right, is probably not going to be equal. One of the legs is probably going to start outperforming the other, just like it does in a unilevel. If I sponsor 100 people, there's all 100 legs aren't going to be the same, even though each one has somebody on my first level. So if one kind of identifies as that power leg, that's actually a good thing. Now what you do is you just put all of your effort on the other leg, and now you only have to build one leg. Typically, depending on the strength of your upline and your positioning, let's just say that I was your personal sponsor and you are on my left leg. That means when I bring people in on my left leg, they're all going underneath you. So the help from the upline is going to go on the leg that you're on. So if you're on my left team, you should be getting, but not guaranteed, because if your upline doesn't sponsor anybody, or if you're on your upline's larger leg and the person that's directly above you doesn't sponsor anybody, you're not guaranteed to get spillover. But in most cases, if you're in an active group with an active upline, you're going to get help on one of the legs. So typically, if you're on my left leg, all that spillover would be going down your left. You would be focusing more on your right. If you're on my right leg, the spillover would be going down on my right. So a lot of times when that tends to be your larger leg, depending on what leg you are on of your sponsor. If you have an active sponsor, if you don't really have an active sponsor, you have a sponsor that's just using this as a tool to build another business, which is what this is created for. This is created to help any network marketer or any marketer dominate whatever they do. Obviously, if I'm using this to help market Amare, what it can do for me is I can set up a blog, because blogs with keywords and all of those are much easier to get good ranking on Google than like a replicated site. Like if you go and search, I've never done it, but if I was in Amare, I would set up my own blog, and I guarantee you that within a couple months, I could be within the first 2 or 3 sites that come up if somebody types in Amare. And what I would do that is just find all the keywords, use the meta tags. Every post that I would do, I'd use the keywords that people are looking for. For Amare, I could take every product and I could take the key ingredients. So you have a product, might have 15 ingredients, but there might be like 7 of them that are like the superstars of that particular formula. So I could just type up each one of those ingredients, and I could say, you know, what are the top 5 benefits of this ingredient? And then I could turn all of those into blog posts, and then I could make sure when I'm putting it together that I'm using the other keywords that I want to use, so that when somebody types into Google, it's, you know, showing your information. And then I can also use those same hashtags and those same tags and information on my Instagram stories or posts, on my TikTok, on my Facebook, whatever it is that you're using, YouTube. And so if you imagine like Google, for instance, they give a lot of weight to Instagram, they give a lot of weight to YouTube, they give a lot of weight to all of those types of to blogs, all of those things, and even videos, TikTok and stuff like that. So if I have certain ingredients that are in my, you know, each one of the products, because I can do different posts on every single product out there, because you don't know what people are looking for. And I have a blog post on it. I have an Instagram post. I have an Instagram story, maybe a reel. I have a TikTok. I have a YouTube, and it's all on that same information. You're going to pop up number 1 every single time. And then when you're teaching your team to do the same thing, your team is going to dominate, because really so much of network marketing is A, having, you know, good product or a decent story, and then B, it's just the exposure. Whoever gets it out to the most people wins. When I was building as a distributor, the reason that my teams typically did well is we exposed more people than anybody else in the company to our products, or to the videos, or to the PDFs, or to any of that type of information. And it most of the time is that simple. Whoever has the most exposures has the most people. And then add to that good onboarding, so that I'm teaching every single person to launch my business. Like if I was going to say, here's the deal. If people are just looking at that $50, if it's the 25, it's basically the same thing. You're just missing out on one bonus. But what I basically do is break it down that the goal is to get that bonus your first month. So if I was going to say, okay, I want to get 2 and help them get 2 within my first month. And I always work on the factor of a launch, never counting on more than a 1%. So my thing would be, I want to get out at least 200 invites minimum my first 2 weeks. The goal being to get 2 out of those 200. In reality, I'm going to get more, but I'm going to get out 200 invites in my first 2 weeks. And let's say that I get my 2 people. What I'm going to do with them is I'm going to focus 100% on helping them launch their business. We're going to help them get that out to 200 people within their first 2 weeks, so that they can get 2 people. Now, as a daily plan, I'm going to teach people strategies to build their perfect list. And I want to add at least 5 or 6 new people to my list every day. And I want to send out at least 4 invites every day on a daily plan. And that's going to incorporate kind of system number 2. So system number 1 is we launch our business. We get 2 people in our first 2 weeks. We help them do the same. System number 2 is we add at least 5 people a day to our list. We send out at least 4 invites a day. That's around 120 a month. And the goal there is to get at least 1 sign up per month. So now if I just kind of look at how that works in the compensation plan, I get my 2 people and we're just going to use $50. If it was 25, it would be basically half the amount. So other than that 1 bonus, but I'm going to put a $25 bonus on the 25 on 2 who get 2. So then it would work out very similar. So how this works, the $50 pack has 40 CV. So you're going to make 50% of the CV. So I get my 2 people in 2 weeks. I just made $40. I help them get 2 people in 2 weeks. They made $40, but now I made a $50 bonus. So now I'm sitting at $90. 20% of that CV goes into the 2-team pay. So that's $24 on my left, $24 on my right, because it's $8. 20% of 40 is $8. So I have 24 on my left, 24 on my right. At this point, because I only have a total team of 6, I'm just a qualified brand influencer. So I'd make $2.40 approximately. So with me getting 2 who get 2, I would make around $92 my first month. Now they launch their business. So those 4 that came in, my 2's 2, that's 8 new people. They launch their business. That's 16 new people. If you just fast forwarded that 6 months, that's going to put you in the neighborhood of 40 to 60,000 per month. And that's just focusing on that launch. So that's just getting 2 in my first 2 weeks and doing that. Now I have the other aspect, which is continually sending out 4 invites a day, trying to get 1 sign up a month. If you look at that 1 sign up per month and you fast forward 1 year, that's around 8,200 people. 2 years, 167,000 people. 30 months, 10 million people. 36 months, 640 million people. And by your 40th month, you would have the entire world's population. So to me, what's so crazy, that's only signing up 1 person per month. That's not even including the first 2 weeks. So everybody has this perception that I have to be like a good marketer. I have to be able to sponsor a whole bunch of people. I have to be able to do all this. That's 100% false. You don't have to be a good marketer at all. You can duplicate only very poor marketers. And what I'd be saying by that, if I have to go to at least 120 people to get 1 sign up for $15 to $50, that would not be a good marketer. But I do have to duplicate, whether it's duplicating good marketers or duplicating poor marketers, I have to duplicate. So the question is, why doesn't everybody do that? The answer is simple, because nobody launches their business.
Yeah.
Most people never launch. And if they semi-launch their business, they go out and talk to 10 or 20 people and get 5 or 6 to join. Those 5 or 6 don't launch. And so it always dies off super quick. Anybody could call me in any business. I don't care what the business is, because network marketing is all the same. In less than 5 minutes, I could tell them exactly why their business isn't growing. And guess what? 99% of the time, they're not launching their business, or when they bring somebody new in, they're not launching. And it boils down to too much freedom. Why is McDonald's so much more successful than just like a mom and pop? Because they eliminate all of your freedom. If you spend a couple $1 million on a McDonald's franchise, you have 0 freedom. They tell you exactly what to do. When you join an MLM, the sponsor doesn't tell you exactly what to do. So now you have all the freedom in the world and you don't know what to do. Too much freedom is not a good thing. So my main focus is, anytime somebody talks to me, is, have you launched your business? Even before you even have any question. Because people have all these questions that really don't matter that much, and they haven't even launched their business to see if there's anything to have a question about. Because if I launched my business and I sent it out to 200 and I had 20 people that joined, again, you need to have the basic understanding of the questions that you guys are asking and stuff like that, in order to, if I have 20 people that join and I just lock them all on one side and I don't have another side, then that's going to potentially limit the amount of money that I can make, even though we can still make unlimited money on one leg and never have a second leg because of the matching bonuses. Somebody has to have a second leg, but you don't have to. Like if I sponsored one person and that person went crazy, I can make $4,000 a week on that one person. And so if you do have to have another leg at least doing 2,500 a week in volume to reach the rank of gold so that you can get generation pay, but you don't have to have two massive legs in order to make a lot of money, because within 2 or 3 generations, 7,500 gets you 4 generations. Within 4 generations, if I have a leader on one leg that builds a massive organization, I mean, I can make, well over 100,000 a month on one massive leader, even if they're on my bigger team, on my bigger leg or something like that.
Quick point of clarification. So since you said it works weekly, does that
Yeah.
mean like every week you have to have a new active kind of order, or like I'm just confused about that piece?
No, so when you have one left and one right, you're what you're called binary qualified. So now you're
Okay.
qualified for all the pay on the 2 team up to 20,000 per week.
Okay. Okay.
So as
So
long as
it's
I
not
have one
like
left
it's not
and one
like
right,
every week
then-
it resets and then you
Yeah,
have to
but-
like, go have 2 new active people.
No.
Okay.
So that but once you're binary qualified, that doesn't reset. And it basically, if I'm binary qualified, you have almost 2 months before you have to be binary qualified again. And it obviously can be the same 2 people. Now, if one person doesn't order, so let's say you have 2 legs going because at one time you was binary
Right.
qualified, and now all of a sudden you're not binary qualified, both of that volume is going to carry over forever. So both legs are going to carry over. I'm not going to get paid on it because I'm not binary qualified, but I'm not going to lose anything. So let's say that went for 2 or 3 months, and then you finally became binary qualified again. That next week, you'd get all the pay for the last 2 or 3 months. You're not losing anything by not being binary qualified.
And essentially, like the way to cover that is if you were to enroll 2 people, one on each side at the $500 annual, are
Then
you
they're
qualified for a
then
year?
qualified for a
Basically?
year.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Cool. That's because that would be my strategy. Just
Yeah.
to like just be done. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I've got to jump off to get back to kids. This was very helpful. I took a lot of notes and yeah, I think it just helped address some of again, just the differences between the plans that I'm used to and everything like that. So
Yeah.
Heidi, I'll probably reach out to you with follow-up later, but I've got
And
to.
if there's any questions that you guys have or any strategies that to help build any business or anything that you're doing outside of network marketing, I'm more than happy to help give any type of ideas or any types of things that I'm seeing other people do for any product or any service to build it. Because really this is designed even or for students. If you have kids and you want us to do a call to teach them how to use this responsibly and how they can build their own business and things like that, because 16 and up can join with their own business, and we can teach them how to use this to learn faster, to study better, to write better, to do all of those different types of things to help build their social media, to all of those things at a younger age. So that's one of the things that we're also really passionate about, is just kind of giving back to the youth. I think students are 100%. Every student is going to be using AI, just like they're all using calculators, and every college is encouraging it, and people are trying to learn. And some of the fastest growing businesses are in AI, prompt writing, all different types of things like that. Big companies are hiring people that are very knowledgeable about AI. So AI is going to be just like a laptop, just like a calculator, just like everything that every student's going to use. And so now all of a sudden we can show them a business around it and a lot of great tools to, learn better and faster.
Awesome.
I have a question real quick before we close, and Jen, jump off if you've got to.
Yeah.
And again, thank you so much, Dan, for your time and your generosity. Appreciate it. Speaking of like the younger generation and the tools and how AI is going to become the norm, in addition to dropping in collections over the, every couple of weeks, which I've heard you and Robert, is that it? Robert?
Yeah.
Is that,
Yeah.
yeah, talk about that, which is great. Like, how are you guys going to keep up with technology and keep, keep the platform relevant as things move so fast?
Well, just for basic content, what we have right now is always going to be relevant because people are always going to be creating content. And so people are always going to have questions and the chat works perfect for that. It's way better than like what you'd get with a Google search. So just the basic chat and just the basic content creation is always going to be relevant. Extract and things like that are always going to be relevant. But we're already working on a bunch of new tools. So the next things that you're going to be seeing are the graphics, the ad creators, the ad builders, so that it'll go out and create an entire campaign for you for Facebook ads, for Google ads, creating all the graphics custom through AI, funnel builders, so you can create an entire funnel, entire website in minutes, all with AI technology, bots, so that you can do all of your invites automatically, and through extract and a bot combined, you can go and pull the people that you're going to send to, automatically send it, and then through bots also, it can do all of your replies. Any question that they have, it's going to answer there. So you can completely automate your entire invite process, your entire follow-up process. And everything that I've mentioned right now, these are all things that are already in the works. We have another one we're calling Ghost that will probably be out by October 1st. And that's, you have Spy, which does your plagiarism, does your human score, does all of that. Ghost will actually go in and rewrite it all for you. So instead of you having to go in and write it so that it has a better human score, so that it doesn't have any of the plagiarism, we're working on a technology piece that'll do it for you. And that's going to be big. So you're going to see just being able to create videos with AI. So basically the sky's the limit, but the basics are never going to go out. Just like, calculators can do so much. Like if I get a calculator for calculus and it has all the formulas and stuff like that, but every calculator is still going to have addition, subtraction, multiplication, and you know what I mean? So that's always going to be relevant, even though it's also going to have the very complex things also. So the content creation is always going to be relevant. It's always going to be what people use the most. But some people that, have businesses and all those things, they're going to get a lot of use out of the setting up your own ads, creating your own ads, doing all the graphics. People that are using funnels, creating their own funnels, setting up your own bots for products, for everything like that. Because here's the thing, it doesn't take that long before the AI is always learning. So when you're putting stuff in about your company or your products, and whether it's uploading PDFs or doing different things like that, that's all going into basically Ruby's database. So now if I ask that question, it's going to know. So your chat is relevant to you, but the AI is still always learning based on everybody else. So the more users and the more content and the more stuff that we get, the more the smarter the AI engine and everything gets. And so we're looking at very, very early on in beta testing, getting things out. So what people are going to be seeing is going to always be significantly better, and not like going down 6 months down the road. We're talking, you're going to see a lot of new things within the next 2 months and stuff like that. We just wanted to get the basics out as fast as we could, because in technology, timing is very relevant. There's already a couple that have popped up right around the same time as us, and one or so that was actually a little bit before us. They don't have the same tools and things like that, but they may have their own tools. It's not like there's only one that's going to be a relevant company, but there's probably not going to be 100 relevant companies. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of like there's a whole bunch of social medias, but there's really like 6 or 7 that are relevant and have, hundreds of millions or billions of users. And I think you're going to see the same thing with AI. There's going to be maybe hundreds or thousands of AI tools, but there's going to be 6 or 7 that have hundreds of millions or billions of people. And so we wanted to get the timing out as fast as we could. But when you understand that signing up one person per month and duplicating that creates the entire world's population in less than 4 years. And then when you have something that you can completely automate all of your prospecting, and things like Instagram, you used to be able to do so much more to grow Instagram so much faster. And then they throttled it down to where you can only send out 3 messages before you start to get blocked per hour. But 3 messages per hour is still 72 per day, several thousand per month. So if you have your entire team automated, sending out several thousand, 2,000 plus invites every month with good content, and then you have every one of them is getting responded to with good answers. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what's the chance of them getting one person?
Right.
It's almost guaranteed. So I think for the first time ever, I honestly 100. I can't say that it's going to be flex. I mean, I'm hoping, and we're trying, and we're putting everything together to make it. But I think within the next 3 years to 5 years, a company is going to dwarf Amway, or Amway may be the one that does it because they have a head start. But if you look at Amway, only has between 8 or 9 million distributors out of 8 billion people in the world. 8 or 9 million is nothing. I mean, just duplicating one per month in 2.5 years, you have 2 million. And that's duplicating one per month. And the only way somebody doesn't duplicate one per month is they don't launch. I mean, it's not possible because there is a number of people that if I get this in front of, somebody's going to join. It's different for everybody. But when I look at my only job is to share this information with as many people as it takes to get to, and their job is the same. Every single person can do it, but they don't because, again, this is just my own opinion. There's too much freedom in when somebody joins to do anything that they want. Nobody really tells them what to do. But that's why you see some groups that are so much more successful than others. Because the concept is, I look at it like every single distributor has their own like micro franchise. You know what I mean? Where I have my own system, my own way of building, and somebody uses their upline. So you have the capability of doing that. And the ones that have the best systems that give the less freedom to their teams, that push the people in the right direction the most, they are the ones that always win. So freedom's a crazy thing because too little, nobody likes, and too much, nobody's successful.
Right.
So the thing that we're trying to do is make it so that just corporately, we have enough tools and enough training and everything like that, that everybody's going to have something that they can push out. But then it's going to be your responsibility to basically, like, if you're really wanting to build as big and as fast as you can, you don't want to have very many conversations with anybody before they launch, because that's the most important thing. And so if Mike was to call me, I'm like, Mike, have you even launched your business? Yeah, whatever. If he has, then I'm like, okay, has Heidi launched? Is this person launched? Is this person launched? Is this person launched? Because if everybody's launching, you're not going to have problems. Your business is going to grow like crazy. And if you get 2, like we're talking about 2 systems, the launch to get 2 people, and it doesn't have to be 2 weeks, it could be 2 days. So if I went and said, hey, I want to get this out to 200 people within my first 48 hours, and the goal is to get 2 people within my first 48 hours, even on the $25 program, you'd make over $100,000 your first month. And so that's what people don't see. If I got 2 people in my first 48 hours and I duplicated that, my group would be over 60,000 people in my first 30 days. And so why don't people do it? Because they don't launch, or their people don't launch, or their people don't, you know what I mean? So those are the things that really get me excited, is just knowing that we have over 200 countries and territories. I think there's 190 actual countries, but there's a bunch of territories. You know, there's maybe like 6 or 7 French islands that are not actual countries, but they're territories, or Puerto Rico's, you know, a territory of the US, or the US Virgin Islands. And that, so if you go to that drop down, there's like 215 countries / territories that you have to work with here. And if you look at countries like India, which is now is the most populated country in the world, over 1 billion people, larger than China, it's one of the biggest segments for customer service. AI is going to be customer service driven. You know, or customer service, excuse me, is going to be AI driven. If you're in the customer service industry, then you're not getting all of your customer service reps using AI. You're not going to compete. It's also one of the biggest programming countries. All programmers are going to be using AI to write parts of their scripts because it's just so much faster. And like they were saying, a lot of people were saying that like AI is going to like eliminate all copywriters. It's not true. It's going to eliminate all that. No, it's going to make copywriters so much more productive that they're going to make 2 and 3 and 4 and 10 times the amount of money. Because if I'm a good writer, if I'm a copywriter and I'm using AI, I'm still going to put out better content than you if you're not you personally, but than a person who's not a good writer, because they're going to have that base and then they're going to go and tweak it and make it a little bit better. But they're going to be able to do that so much faster than writing it all out themselves. But you, again, not you, a person that's not a great writer, they're going to put out 10 times better content than they previously have been doing, because most of them are putting out no content because they're like, oh, I'm not a good writer, I can't write this. So most companies are like, best case scenario, you have like an autoresponder, but the autoresponders that aren't using all AI are too generic. I mean, I can't send out the same message to the entire world and get great results, because I want to break each one. That's where you have personify. I break down each one so that I can get out better content to that niche. Do you know what I mean? Like if I want to do like a women's empowerment thing, and so I'm doing, my entire thing is about empowering women, it's going to be a completely different content than if I'm trying to empower men. But why wouldn't I want to do both? Or if I want to sign up, you know, focus on 16 to 22-year-olds and students, that's not going to be relevant to 50 and 60-year-olds to be showing them how to use this, to do book reports, to find out more information on books, to do essays and all of that.
Right.
So being able to use AI to create all of these different things for all of the different massive niches that I have gives you a massive advantage to get out 100 times more content. Then you have your entire team getting the content out also. Traditional network marketing, now again, traditional network marketing, if you incorporate all this into your team is going to be a top performing team. You're going to outperform the teams that aren't doing it, because you're going to get out so much more content, so much better content, all the ads, all of those types of things. So that's the vision that I see. And I really do think a company, I'm betting on this one, is going to be bigger than any other company within the next 5 years. I think you literally in the next 5 years can pass what companies have done that's taken them 70 to 80 years.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time again. And Heidi, thanks for setting this up. Mike, thanks for jumping on and bringing Dan into this today. We really appreciate it. I'm super excited. It's hard to wrap my brain around exactly the potential that's here.
Yeah, that's why you just have to do baby steps. Just start off using it for one thing. Come up with a good recipe for a smoothie or something and just say, oh, that's kind of cool. And then just you start using it for different things. And then before you know it, you're going to be using it just like you're using your cell phone, you know?
Awesome.
So if you try and figure out everything, then it just kind of gets too big.
Yeah, then you don't do anything.
Exactly. But I have to jump off also because I have another call coming up. But it's a pleasure meeting you guys. Look forward to working with you. And I've been in the industry a long time, so I'm out to help anybody build any business and how they can use Flex and Ruby in order to have the most success that they possibly can in whatever their passion is.
Awesome.
Hey, thanks a lot, Dan. Appreciate it.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Heidi.
Thank
Okay,
you.
appreciate it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right,
Thanks, Jen. Okay.
everybody.
Okay. All right. Bye.
Bye, everybody.